In this little video, we're going to start by creating the beginning of a granny square. To do that, we can do it two ways. The first way you can do it is make a slip knot and chain around 5 stitches. So, making sure you're grasping your work in your left hand and you're working your hook with your right hand, and you've got your yarn wrapped around your fingers. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we need to create a loop or a circle. So we're going to slip stitch back into the first chain here. So to do that, you insert your hook into that stitch, just so that you can see it. If you keep your chain flat side up, you just need to go under this first loop here. Yarn round the hook and pull it back through that hole and your loop to create a ring. And holding that ring and the tail in your left hand so that you can see the centre, you can work your first stitch into the centre. To get the right height, because we're working in trebles, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And this set of chains does count as a stitch. So this will be like the first treble. Then we're going to go yarn around the hook into the centre of your circle. Yarn round hook, bring it through to the front, so you've got 3. Yarn round hook, bring that through 2. Yarn round hook, bring it through 2. I'm going to do one more. Yarn round hook into the centre of your circle, yarn round hook, yarn round hook, bring it through 2, yarn round hook, bring it through the second 2. So that's your set of 3 trebles. One of them's chained and the other 2 are worked as a treble stitch. And each time we're coming round, we're working to keep that tail in position. So that's doing it with a chain ring. I'm just going to start again. I'll show you how to do the rest of the first row. I'm going to show you how to do it with a magic ring. This time we're going to wrap our yarn. If you have the tail towards you, round your fingers like this, and then cross it over and just grip it there with your little finger. So it looks like a cross. Then insert your hook under both and hook the left hand piece of yarn and draw it through like that. So you've created a loop, and then go back under, yarn round hook again and bring it through that loop you've just created there. And then very gently ease out and you've created a ring. There, with a knot on it, a slip knot on the ring. Okay, so I'll show you now to work those trebles again. So we're in the same position we were before with a ring. It's just we haven't got a chain making that ring. We've got just a single thread. So to begin, because we're working trebles, chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to work our trebles into the centre of this ring. So yarn round hook into the ring, yarn round hook, come to the front, and you've got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn round, bring it through 2, yarn round, bring it through those 2. Same again, yarn round hook into the ring, yarn round hook. 3, yarn round hook, bring it through 2, yarn round hook, bring it through the last 2, and there you've got your 2 trebles and your chain, which is also acting as a treble. Now you need to do a single chain stitch, and we're going to repeat the process. We're going to do 3 trebles, keeping our thread in place there, so going through under both there. So yarn round hook, 3, that's the first treble, second treble, third treble. So we've now got 2 sets of 3 trebles separated by a chain stitch. So chain stitch again here, single chain. We're going to do the same again. This is number 2. And number 3. All the time I'm holding that circle in a way that I'm not holding it over here, so it's too difficult. I'm holding it here, so I'm creating an easier space to work with. And actually you can draw it up a bit. If you pull the end of it, you can make it a bit smaller and it's easier then. So we're going to create the last set of 4 trebles. So chain 1 to create the space we need on the next row, and still making sure that we're catching the tail in as we go. We're going to do the last 3 trebles of this row. 1, 2, 3. Then we chain 1 again, so we're creating a space, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of the starting chain. So 1, 2, 3, that's the top stitch. We're going in under there, under 2 threads, yarn over hook, bring it back through both loops, and that's your slip stitch to join. And you can just pull your middle tight, and later keep your ends nice and long, because when you finish your square, I do it as I go along, otherwise it's very, very boring at the end when you've just got to do all your ends, is take a darning needle and weave it in as best you can at the back, because acrylic's very slippery, and my blankets, I've got several middles have come undone. Okay, so that's your first row of your granny blanket, or your granny square I mean. So now we're going on to row 2. Okay. So just wrapping the yarn around my fingers again, drawing it so it's not too loopy. So what we're going to be doing is working into these spaces on each round. That's why we made the single chain, to give us a space to work into. But obviously we're all the way over here and we need to be here. So a neat way of getting there is to run some slip stitches to get yourself over there. Oops. That's a bit wobbly. Okay, so go in under this, you see the tops, you can see your V stitches. 1, 2, we need to be here, so 1, 2, 3, this is the third one. So we're just going to slide under here, yarn over and bring it through to the front. next one, into that stitch, yarn over, bring it through to the front, and finally this last one, yarn over, pass it through both loops, and now we're in the right position to do the next row. So you need to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This is going to act as our first treble, then yarn over. We're going to do 2 trebles into this single chain space. So we're working into here. Yarn over. Same stitch as before. And a second treble into that 2 chain space. There we go. That's your first set of 3. So we're going to create a corner now. Single chain, and we're going to work another 3 trebles into this same single chain space from the first row. 2, 3, that's your corner there. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that after my camera mishap. Single chain to create a space for the next row, and then we're going to work 3 trebles, single chain space, and another 3 into this corner. So this is 1, 2, 3. Single chain, 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 and then to the last, we're just going to do the last corner here. 1, 2, 3. Single chain, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do a single chain here and a slip stitch to join at the starting chain of 3. 1, 2, 3, going in here. Can you see that? 1, 2, 3. It's got a bit dark here. Slip stitch to join. So that's your second row. Obviously here we're working with one colour for ease, but for each of these rows you can do a different colour. in which case you'd need to pull this end through and finish it off, and then do a fresh slip knot and start with a new colour. It's just good to keep your tails nice and long so that you've got plenty to darn in with later. Okay, so now we're on to row 3. So we're going to slip stitch into position again, because we're here, we want to be here. So just slip under there, 1, 2, 3. There we are. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work 2 trebles into this corner with a single chain space. 1, 2, 3. So that's your 3 trebles, single chain, and another 3 into this space. 1, 2, 3. Single chain. So along the sides you just need to do a single chain, and you work sets of 3 trebles into each single chain space from the previous row. So 1, 2, 3. Single chain, and this corner going in here, 1, 2, 3. Single chain, 1, 2, 3. Single chain, then just one set of 3 in here because it's on the side, single chain, and then into this corner. Sorry, I keep knocking it with my foot. 1, 2, 3, single chain in the corner, 1, 2, 3, single chain, 1, 2, 3, single chain again, last corner, 1, 2, 3, single chain into the corner, 1, 1, 2, 3, single chain, 1, 2, 3, and single chain and a slip stitch to join to the chain of 3 at the beginning. 1, 2, 3 in there, and that's your 3rd row. And I'm going to, just on the next video, I'll just show you how to fasten off. But you'll go on however many rows you want, depends how big you want your square. I would usually do another 2 rows with this. And also it depends how your colour plan is working, you know, what your ideas are about that. But this starting point, if each time when you're working into the corner, you're always working into that excuse me, corner chain, you're working a set of 3 trebles there separated, single chain and another 3 into each corner, and then on the sides you're just doing a treble into that space. Your blanket can just grow and grow as big as you want it. You just keep running around. It's very rhythmic once you get into it. It's great in front of the telly. I'm just going to stop this video now and finish off the square so that I can show you how to fasten off.